Who's the best?
Me. Of course, gotta be. They still have to prove themselves.
Bernie, look at me. I'm looking at him right now.
They've all got a point. The oldest has been the leading receiver for the Fighting Irish 2 seasons in a row. The middle is a highly touted freshman redshirt for Stanford. And the youngest just led his high school team to their first ever state championship.
I'm just a lucky guy.
Now, you may be thinking, haven't I heard something like this before? About another obsessed father in Southern California with a master plan and his 3 sons?
It was
Ball famously chose his wife because she had the DNA of an athlete. John Brown says when he met the future Mrs. Brown back in 1989, he was smitten with her genes. And by genes, he didn't mean her Levi's.
I figured 2 elephants don't make a giraffe, right? So I looked at her and I thought, ooh, tall, strong, smart, ooh. Man, can you imagine that? And so I started painting these pictures in my head.
You were thinking. Ball also made sure his 3 sons would stand out by giving them memorable names. Lonzo, LeAngelo, and LaMelo. But those names sound like Jimmy, Johnny, and Joey compared to the ones John Brown gave his kids. What's your full name?
Amon-Ra, Julian Harut, J. St. Brown.
Osiris, Adrian, Amon-Ra, J. St. Brown. Equanimous, Tristan, Imhotep, J. St. Brown.
Excuse me? I'm tempted to ask you, like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, make sure you name your kid something, that's powerful, because when you call him by his name, it invoke powers in him. So I can't name him John. I can't name him Billy, or Bernie. I mean, hey.
John Brown's grand plan was officially underway, but somebody forgot to tell Miriam, his German-born wife. He says, I have an idea. Let's call him Equanimous. Your reaction at the time?
I started crying. I wished it would be a different name. It was, I don't want to say it was devastating. It wasn't devastating, but it was...
Not fun.
Not fun, yes.
Did you talk to him about it?
I tried, but there was no discussion about the name. No discussion.
And it wasn't... His last name is Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Your last names are...
St. Brown.
St. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we, as black men and women, free in this country, still honoring the slave master's name?
So you changed the name from Brown to St. Brown as a sort of a gesture?
Yeah. And also, you have to admit, it looked good on the jersey, right? Because there's a lot of Browns. I mean, what is that? Brown, Jim Brown, Brown. But St. Brown, there's no St. Browns.
Did you imagine, just as hell-bent as their take-no-prisoners father, her obsession? Her son's brains. So he's in charge of the athletics. You're in charge of the academics?
Yes. It started when they were little. I was pretty disciplined with them. I took Game Boys away. I had them study different vocabulary. Hat zurückgespult?
On top of that, Miriam was determined to make sure her sons spoke more than one language.
Bitte alle sitzen, okay?
So she communicates with them 100% of the time in her native German, and they speak it right back to her, fluently.
Ist jetzt jeden Tag 8:45 Uhr?
I think my mom is similar to my dad in just the way she pushes us, but her side is more academic. So when we were younger, if we wanted to go out, we'd have to she had vocab cards, and we'd have to learn 10 of them.
Who's more obsessed, your mother or your father?
They're both driven.
But for Miriam, 2 languages simply were not enough. So instead of sending the boys to a regular elementary school, she enrolled them in a French language day school in Orange County. Then, just for good measure, she had the entire family go to Paris for 6 months.
Je parle français et j'ai pas parlé quand j'avais Anne, elle m'a étudié.
So you're all Division 1, and you also speak 3 languages, and you get 4.0s or thereabouts. I'm starting to feel inferior here. I don't like this.
A lot of kids at my school say I was